What if you created something so powerful it could predict the future of the global economy? A tool made of pure logic, of pure data. Now imagine that one night, that very creation confronts you with a choice that could save the world, but would absolutely destroy your life. Well, this is that story.
So at the center of all this is a woman named Lina. She's a brilliant financial analyst, and her entire professional life was built on one single powerful truth. Her predictive model was never wrong. It wasn't just a program, it was her reputation, her secret weapon, and her greatest achievement.
But this perfect system, the one that saw every crisis coming, was about to issue a warning that wasn't just about markets. No, this was about the very nature of the power she had created, a power she thought she controlled.
Okay, so to really understand how Lina got to this point, you have to know that her reputation wasn't built on luck or connections. Not at all. It was built on flawless, undeniable calculation.
I mean, her track record was just astonishing. At only 27, she foresaw a currency collapse weeks before anyone else even had a clue. By 30, she was warning investors about a market bubble that, later devastated portfolios. In just a few years, her accuracy made her an absolute legend.
Her secret? It was this incredibly complex, self-built algorithm. It didn't just look at stocks, it analyzed a vast web of interconnected data. Things like political instability, corporate debt, global liquidity, and even really subtle patterns in human behavior. It didn't just see the pieces on the board, it saw the entire game.
And then came the night it all changed. A single alert from this perfect system, flashing in the dead of night, signaling a crisis that was worse than anything she had ever modeled before.
The screen lit up with just one number, 98%, the probability of a systemic collapse. And we're not talking about just a market crash here, but the entire financial architecture failing. This wasn't a warning anymore, it was a mathematical certainty, and the data behind it was absolutely catastrophic. So, what did that 98% actually mean? It meant the potential for trillions of dollars in wealth to just vanish in a matter of days, basically a financial extinction event.
This is where the story just completely pivots. A collapse of this magnitude needed a trigger, right? A single catalyst. But as she dug deeper into the data, she realized this wasn't some natural market correction. It was something else entirely. And this is where the narrative really shifts. The algorithm didn't find a flaw in the market. It found a plan, a deliberate, calculated action.
The first clue from her system was this. The trigger was a strategic financial move. This wasn't chaos. This was planned. Someone was about to pull a thread that would unravel everything. The algorithm then narrowed it down further, identifying the source. A single, powerful investment fund was orchestrating this move. You can just imagine the dread that must have been building as she realized how close this was getting. And there it was, the final horrifying piece of the puzzle. The entity about to engineer a global collapse was her own employer. Her algorithm hadn't just predicted a disaster, it had uncovered a conspiracy happening in her own office.
The very next morning, her CEO's words just confirmed everything. Chilling. He said, "We're about to make history." He wasn't scared, he was proud. They knew exactly what they were doing. They were engineering the collapse to profit from the ruins.
So at this point, the crisis became deeply personal. That night, as she sat all alone in her office, the algorithm she built, it turned its analytical power directly on her.
A second alert appeared, but this time the number wasn't about the market. No, this was about her, an 87% probability. The algorithm had calculated that if the plan went forward, any investigation would trace the predictive models used to design it straight back to her. She would become the public face of the crisis, the scapegoat for the entire disaster. And so, her own creation presented her with this stark, impossible choice. Send the internal approval, save her career, and just silently enable a global catastrophe. Or leak the data to regulators, prevent the collapse, but guarantee her own professional ruin.
So what happened next? At 2:42 a.m., she made her decision, and the consequences, they were swift and they were decisive.
She chose to leak. Before the markets even opened, an anonymous tip reached regulators. The strategy was exposed, and instead of a global market crash, her own company's stock imploded. By the end of the day, the executives were gone, and formal investigations were already underway.
In the end, she quietly packed up her desk, her reputation in tatters, her future totally uncertain. A global catastrophe was averted, but it cost her everything she had built.
But that wasn't the end of the story. Weeks later, in a small office far from all the chaos, she rebuilt her system from scratch. And this time, she added one new crucial variable to the code: an ethical impact weight, a function designed to calculate not just profit and loss, but the human cost.
Through her ordeal, Lina learned a lesson that financial models rarely account for, that the true risk isn't just in the numbers on a screen, but in the unchecked ambition that drives them. Because power without limits, well, that's the most dangerous currency in the world.